Now just breathe. Don't alter it. Just observe the air moving in and out of your body. Feel the oxygen nourishing your system, the rhythm of your breath, keeping you alive and in the moment. Think about it. By now, you've probably been alive for 2 or 3 decades, maybe more, maybe less. In all those years, how many times have you hit setbacks, stumbles, or what you've labeled as failures? Maybe more than a few, right? Maybe some still weigh heavy in your mind. When we reflect on the concept of failure, most of us instinctively feel uncomfortable. The thought of our perceived shortcomings stirs up emotions of inadequacy. But I want you to suspend those thoughts for just a moment. I'm inviting you to consider how some of your greatest failures might actually have been the best things to ever happen to you. It's not easy to see when you're in the middle of it. Take, for example, a person trapped in a one-sided relationship for years. They gave their all, tried to make things work, but ended up getting divorced. Some see divorce as the ultimate failure, a broken commitment. But what if it wasn't? What if that person picked themselves up, rebuilt a life they loved, and eventually found a partner who cherished them deeply? What if ending that first relationship was the gateway to a love and happiness they couldn't have imagined? Or think of a business owner who rushed into launching a product without enough research. Suppliers weren't secured, the market wasn't ready, and the whole thing crashed. It might seem like a colossal failure, unless you realize that this experience pushed them to spend the next 2 years perfecting their strategy, finding reliable partners, and ultimately relaunching with massive success. They didn't fail. They learned. It's all about how you choose to frame the experience. One of the most cited examples of turning failure into success is Thomas Edison, who famously said, "I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Most people would give up after a handful of failed attempts. But Edison didn't see his setbacks as defeats. Each was just another step closer to his goal. He ruled out one wrong approach after another, narrowing down his path until he found what worked. That's the mindset we need to cultivate if we want to reach the top of our game. Successful people understand that failure is the greatest teacher life can offer. It's a tool for growth, not a sign of inadequacy. But why do so many of us struggle with failure? Because we've been conditioned to believe that it's a reflection of our worth, our abilities, and all our shortcomings. Let's challenge that. Imagine you tried something ambitious and it didn't work out. Maybe you started a side hustle, only for it to fizzle out. Is that really a reason to feel shame? Absolutely not. It's a sign that you had the courage to try. As the motivational speaker Dennis Waitley once said, "Failure should be our teacher, not our undertaker." Failure is delay, not defeat. It is a temporary detour, not a dead end. The only way to avoid failure completely is to do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing. And you're not here for that, are you? No way. We know you're here to live boldly, take risks, and grow. You're here to thrive, not just survive. So let's shed the shame that society has placed on us when things don't work out as planned. Generations before us painted failure as something to be avoided at all costs because, back then, the stakes were often higher. Resources were scarce, and the fear of failure was a survival mechanism. But today, things are different. The real tragedy isn't failing. It's never daring to try in the first place. Think about it. What would happen if you completely reframed failure in your mind? What if, instead of seeing it as a dead end, you viewed it as a valuable detour? What if each misstep was just another chapter in the story of your success? When you look at failure as progress in disguise, it loses its power to paralyze you. It becomes nothing more than a stepping stone on your way to mastery. The next time you're staring down the barrel of what feels like failure, remember this. It's not a condemnation. It's feedback. It's life's way of pointing out where your skills or knowledge might need a little more sharpening. It's your cue to pause, reflect, adjust, and then charge forward with renewed clarity. When you strip away the shame and look at it with clear eyes, failure is nothing more than success and progress. So let's flip the narrative. Think about a recent failure of yours. Go ahead, really dig into it. What didn't go as planned? Why? What did you learn? And most importantly, how can you use that information to refine your approach? This is where the real power of reframing failure comes into play. It's not about glossing over your mistakes or pretending they didn't hurt. It's about using them as fuel for your next move. Hey, it's time to redefine your relationship with failure. It's not an enemy. It's a mentor. It's not the end. It's the beginning. Next time you trip, don't see it as falling down. See it as a chance to build yourself back up, stronger and wiser. Remember, failure is simply a part of the journey. The only way to truly fail is to give up. So keep going, keep learning, and keep growing. And until we meet again tomorrow, embrace each stumble because it's just a step closer to success. See you then.